The biggest takeaway is that the correction phase in the Alpine regions is actually over. The prices grew in the course of last year by 1.5% on average of all the destinations that we analyzed. The growth was the highest in Austria, with about 5% in the year-on-year terms. In French and Swiss most expensive destinations, we had growth rates of about 2 to 3%, and the Italian destinations corrected slightly by minus 1.5%.
Now we know that the priciest areas, of course, are Engadin and St. Moritz. Tell me, how pricey are we talking about? How much is it per square meter?
Well, the highest prices, as you mentioned, Engadin, St. Moritz, they start from like 15,000 Swiss francs. So they can go up to even 20,000. There's of course a luxury market when there's actually no top. The second region, the second most expensive region is Gstaad with 14,500 Swiss francs, and then we have a French destination, Courchevel, and two Austrian destinations, St. Anton am Malberg and Kitzbühel, and the price level is about 13,000 Swiss francs.
We know that Switzerland is expensive, but that's just saying even the space that we're standing on, or not even, this square meter would be worth 15,000 Swiss francs.
Yes, that's correct. So you see the prices are really high, but the demand for holiday homes is actually increasing in Switzerland. This is because of the demand here in Switzerland and also from abroad. So there's a rising demand in Switzerland because our income, our capital is increasing here in Switzerland, and also the currency is much more favorable. The exchange rate to euro with 120 is much better than it was like 3 years ago, for example, with 1.07. So also the demand from abroad is coming here to Switzerland, and Swiss holiday homes are getting more attractive.
Who are these people who can actually afford a second home in these Alpine regions? Do they have a certain income bracket? Are they usually families?
No, in the most times you just need to fulfill the criteria and want to have a holiday house somewhere. The demand for holiday housing in the long term should, however, decrease because people tend to go only on short trips, so they do not want to have a holiday home and go anytime to the same place, like, every weekend or every year to the same place. So in the long term, we see a lot of negative factors. In the short term, with growing incomes, everybody could be interested in having a nice property somewhere in the Alpine region.
So one thing that I want to talk about is that buying a second home is always a decision that we might have to think about. It's not really the best or ideal investment.
Well, yes, buying a holiday house is a very emotional decision, actually, and all those investment thoughts that you may have, they are only in the second place. But also when you buy a house, you always think of how the prices will develop in the future. Can I rent the house, for example, during the main season to some people and earn some income? So those thoughts are also included, but not in the first place.
Can people still get additional income when they rent it through Airbnb?
Yes, renting actually is quite attractive on Airbnb when you compare it to renting on the first home market. So your holiday home can be rented either on the first home market when you earn like in average of all the destinations like 750 francs per month. But when renting on Airbnb, you will earn something like over 1,000 Swiss francs. Compared to the prices, you can earn an average return of something like 4% in the course of the year.
But you just might be able to rent it out throughout the whole year.
Yes, in our analysis, we consider the occupancy. So the average occupancy is actually 1/3. So your flat will be rented only 1 day out of 3.
We talk a lot about cross-border shopping here in Switzerland, and I think the same also goes for real estate. We tend to look in the French Alps or the Austrian Alps, but is it still worth it to look abroad?
Well, given the currency exchange rate that has changed over the last 2 or 3 years and the Swiss franc depreciation, the Swiss housing actually gained on attractiveness compared to other locations. Also, the prices in Austria and France increased over the last years, whether the prices here in Switzerland decreased slightly. So that's why the attractiveness increased. So maybe the demand also will increase here in Switzerland for our holiday homes.
Now, with the Second Home Act, the main aim was actually really to limit the stock that we were seeing in these Alpine regions. Is this actually even working?
Well, the Second Homes Act limits the new construction of housing, but there are some possibilities how you can develop the stock further on. You can either create or build new touristically managed homes, so this is like more hotels that you need to rent out. Then you can close the bed-running hotels and also replace them with some second homes, but there the potential is really small. Where we see the highest potential is the reconversion of grandfathered homes, so houses or homes that were actually built based on the old law that was out of force in 2012, and actually there are on the governmental level, on the state level, there are no restrictions to reconvert them into second homes.
Okay, so I just want to finish up. For a lot of the people who might be watching this interview, they might be thinking of buying a second home. What is the best piece of advice you could be giving them right now?
So if you're interested in buying a holiday home, go for it. Just make sure that you can afford it in the future and that you'll be able to repay your mortgage even when the rates increase.
And you personally, if you were to think of buying a place, where would be the best catch for your home portfolio?
Well, I love places when there is a lot of touristic offers, some ski slopes in winter, and also a lot of hiking possibilities in summer. So I would choose for sure a location that offers a lot of those facilities and attractions.
That sounds pricey.
It is.